Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a total zero to hero journey with Nsauditor AI Enterprise Edition 0.17.0. We're going to walk through the exact step-by-step path from the second that purchase email hits your inbox all the way to generating your very first cryptographically signed audit report. If you're looking to totally streamline your compliance across multiple cloud environments and, critically, without letting a single byte of your data leave your network, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get to it.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with a quick welcome to Nsauditor AI, run through installation and license activation, and then configure your scan credentials. After that, we'll run your first cloud scan, explore conversational audits with Claude, and finally, make sure you understand your audit results. Lots to cover, so let's dive right in.
Starting with Section 1, welcome to Nsauditor AI and the multiplier effect. When you're tasked with auditing a really complex cloud environment, the old way usually means stringing together a dozen different clunky tools. Well, Nsauditor completely flips that script. The absolute game changer here is what we call the multiplier effect. With just one single scan execution, you're generating mapped, verifiable evidence across three major clouds at once: AWS, Azure, and GCP. And it does this in parallel for major frameworks. We're talking SOC 2, HIPAA, NIST CSF 2.0, PCI DSS, ISO 27001, and CIS Controls V8. It's basically a massive boost to your team's productivity.
Now, before we even think about touching a terminal, I need to anchor a really fundamental point here. Your data privacy is absolute. Everything runs entirely on your own local machine, period. No scan data, no cloud credentials, and absolutely no security findings are ever exfiltrated or sent back to Nsauditor. That zero data exfiltration guarantee? Yeah. That's an absolute must-have for modern security teams.
Moving right along to Section 2, Installation and License Activation, taking you from that welcome email straight to an activated CLI.
Okay, so the prep phase starts super simply with two specific items waiting in your purchase email: your enterprise license key, which starts with enterprise_, and your NPM read-only access token. Because the Enterprise Edition is a private restricted package, that token is basically your golden ticket to download the software. From there, just follow these foundational steps. First off, make sure you've got Node.js version 20 LTS or newer installed. Then, use that token from your email to authenticate NPM. Finally, you're going to globally install a trio of packages: the free Community Edition runtime, the Claude Agent skill, and the restricted Enterprise package itself, which actually houses all 28 Enterprise Cloud plugins and the core compliance framework logic.
Once the download finishes, activating your license takes literally one clean command. That's it. No messy shell RC edits, no weird configurations. The tool securely verifies the signature and natively stores it right in your macOS keychain, or, if you're on Linux or Windows, in a lockdown.env file. It's incredibly frictionless.
All right, Section 3, Configuring your scan credentials, focusing on secure and local configuration.
So, obviously, you need to tell Nsauditor what it's actually looking at, and what AI model to use for the analysis, if you're using one. And I actually want to drop our privacy anchor just one more time right here. Look, technical teams are rightfully skeptical anytime a security tool asks for cloud keys. But as you map out your AI provider and target clouds, please remember, your credentials stay strictly local. Absolutely nothing goes to a third-party server. The absolute best practice you'll want to adopt here is setting up a dedicated .env file for each separate account. So, for example, you'd have one for your dev environment and a totally separate one for prod. Inside that file, you just declare your AI provider, like OpenAI, Claude, or Alama, specify which clouds this file governs, and paste in your respective access keys. Keeping it to one file per account is huge because it ensures credentials only load for the specific scan you're running in that exact moment. No accidental cross-contamination whatsoever.
Which brings us to Section 4, running your first cloud scan. Time to put the platform into action.
When you're ready to trigger a scan, you point the CLI at your specific environment file and list the compliance frameworks you want to evaluate. And honestly, this setup brilliantly illustrates Nsauditor's radical transparency. If you accidentally forget to point to your environment file, or you point to one that doesn't even exist, it throws a hard error by design. That strictness is actually a really clever feature to protect you from falsely overstating your security posture by silently scanning an empty or incorrect context. Also, brand new in Enterprise 0.17.0 is this incredibly powerful multi-region AWS scoping logic.
By using the AWS region flag, you have total control over the fan-out. So if you don't use the flag at all, it's just going to scan one region and explicitly give you an incomplete coverage advisory. But if you pass the word all, it executes a full fan-out across every single enabled region on your account. Or you can just give it a comma-separated list. The key takeaway? Regions you don't scan are explicitly disclosed in the results rather than just silently assumed to be clean. It's a massive win for audit accuracy.
Next up, Section 5, Conversational Audits with Claude and the MCP integration.
This right here introduces a total paradigm shift. You don't have to live entirely in the command line anymore. By leveraging the bundled MCP server, that's Model Context Protocol, you can trigger complex multi-cloud audits conversationally using just simple natural language prompts. You can literally just type "audit my AWS and Azure accounts" into Claude Desktop, and the agent completely takes over from there. And getting these conversational audits set up takes maybe 3 quick steps. You just pop into Claude Desktop, upload the SKLMD file that comes included in your enterprise package, configure a couple of environment variables like your API keys, and boom, you're ready to rock. This empowers Claude to directly and securely interface with the Nsauditor toolset running right there on your local machine.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the intelligent batching mechanism built into this integration. See, Claude Desktop enforces a hard 60-second time limit per tool call. So if you ask for all regions, the agent is actually smart enough to automatically discover all your active regions and batch them into smaller groups. You don't need to mess around manually tweaking timeouts or stressing about a scan failing halfway through. The agent manages the chunks automatically to keep everything running smoothly.
And finally, Section 6, Understanding Your Audit Results, where we learn how to actually read the evidence.
Because, let's face it, running the scan is really only half the battle. Presenting the evidence is where the actual value lies. I want to really emphasize this comparison. A result of 0 findings is not automatically a clean pass. A lot of other tools suffer from what we call the silent clean problem, where if an account or region simply couldn't be reached, it just returns 0 errors and calls it a day. Nsauditor's explicit disclosures ensure you always know exactly what was and what wasn't successfully audited. If a plugin errored out or a region was truncated, the report is going to explicitly tell you.
So when your scan finally finishes, the output you get is this incredibly robust package. Everything lands neatly in a dedicated, time-stamped folder containing separate reports for SOC2, HIPAA, and whatever other frameworks you ran. But crucially, it also includes RFC 3161 trusted timestamps and SHA 256 chain of custody sidecars. Basically, this creates a highly secure, cryptographically verifiable folder of artifacts that is absolutely ready for any auditor's rigorous review. Plus, all your findings are beautifully categorized by severity, right from critical all the way down to info.
Take a second to just think about your current workflows. Chasing down random screenshots and managing endless manual spreadsheets? Yeah, that's the old way. Handing over a cryptographically verifiable multi-framework evidence pack that was literally generated in minutes? That's the new reality. Consider just how radically this structured, locally executed approach could streamline your entire operations.
To grab the exact terminal commands and start your own onboarding today, make sure to check out the full step-by-step guide at the link you see here. And I'll leave you with this final thought. When your very next audit cycle begins, how complete and mathematically verifiable is your cloud compliance picture actually going to be? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.